It doesn't get any better than this. The StarCraft 2 World Championships at IEM Katowice 2023. Let me introduce the Red Terran here in this best of 3. I give you Micro Jackson. It's ByuN. And facing off one of the only players who not only equal, but might even surpass him. It's the man, the myth, the Maru. I won't lie to you. I watched this match live, and it was so damn good. I have to watch it again, and maybe again. This is an unabashed, all caps, no question mark in my mind, Game of the Year candidate. This is absolutely one of the best games of StarCraft 2 I've ever seen. And even though there are 2 Terrans involved, well, that certainly doesn't preclude that opportunity. So I'm going to ask you before we start off, like, subscribe. I hope you enjoy my commentary and my experience with it, and I hope you enjoy more in the future. But on to now. ByuN versus Maru. 2 to 3 games to decide who between these two is the most capable. There's quite a stylistic difference, I think, between these 2 players. ByuN is your hyper-speed, outmaneuver, fast and loose, just constantly trying to circumvent sort of player. Maru, on the other hand, is more methodical. Not that his micro is anywhere close to incompetent. No, the exact opposite. But a little less risky, except in the cases of maybe his build orders. And a bit more tactical, if you could call it that. Focusing more on exactly why he's doing something than rather, can he? And I'm sure that will come into play as time goes on. We've got the Reaper Hellion jousting to kick things off. Reapers and Hellions, the staples of the early game in TVT, because if you don't have them, you're very likely to get overrun by them. But ByuN really investing heavily. He's got 6 Reapers, 3 Hellions to kick things off. Maru built his orbital on the high ground, knowing he probably wouldn't have the unit count because he went for that heavier tech play. There is a medevac out right now, but here comes ByuN up the ramp, a tank just in time. I believe the tank is sieging up right on the ramp. ByuN spotted it. Takes a hit, backs off, and so far just maneuvering around this very edge of the tank range. The medevac can help out with some of the healing, but it's getting distracted by the SCVs that were already bruised. And ByuN, this is not by any means a requirement to get damage. ByuN behind it has a command center. He's actually got another worker here. I believe he didn't actually kill any SCVs, just a little quicker because he built it on the low ground. But we're starting things off. Every unit matters in the early game. Both of them can have essentially exactly the same ones in Terran versus Terran. So losing especially anything out of the factory can be devastating early on. But, oh, Maru comes up. Siege tank in position. Cyclone locked on, but doesn't get any of the key units here. Some SCVs already pre-pulled for repair, or maybe to tank some of the damage. ByuN micros back just barely out of vision. Vikings giving some extra vision here. Siege tank taken down. Another tank. Target fire from Maru at the last second is able to take down the Cyclone. Raven holding on to its energy. Will he use the auto turret? Reaper even gets a grenade into the fray here. And so far, 5 SCVs. What's happening on the other side? The uncloaked Banshee just wandered in. ByuN with the kicker there. 6 kills. So he invested that starport time in the tech lab, which means he doesn't have the chance to equal this Viking count. Maru juggles a tank into a siege position, and right now he's really using those Vikings to leverage the position all the way into ByuN's natural. There's only 1 siege tank. This is literally the least he could have when it comes to sieging up ByuN's base, yet it's still a deadly combination, even this early on. The boys are pre-pulled. The siege tank sieges up, but the interference matrix scrambles it, but he was unsieging. He was unsieging, so if the tank is sieged up, and it isn't unsieging as the interference matrix lands, it's locked in. You can't pick it up, you can't unsiege it. It's dead. Vikings on the ground, but ByuN comes up with 2 Vikings of his own. Now, ByuN sieges up, Maru sieges up, Liberator adding that extra element, that extra dimension, the air, the sky here, a Z-axis, as things are anything but calm right now. The Vikings, a couple of them with a quarter Viking HP between them. ByuN could easily snipe off 2 or 3 of these siege tanks. Better DPS unsiege, but of course suffering from that lack of range. Maru recognizes a severe lack of anti-air and uses his Vikings, picks up the tank, drops the Vikings into the main. Siege tank, Maru realizing that maybe not enough HP. Vikings get a couple SCVs, Marines pick off one. There's a siege tank tucked into this little debris corner here, as ByuN is able to get some more damage and force Maru back. So at the end of the day, Maru is taking his 3rd command center on the low ground. All of that damage, all of that exchange has left them about even. ByuN has lost somewhat more, and overall his unit composition is struggling, but Maru doesn't have the boots on the ground right now to really get the damage done. In fact, ByuN is going... Does he have double starport? Yeah, he added a 2nd starport on to catch up in the Viking count. Makes things awkward because the Vikings were dropped to the ground to kill the SCVs, but a Cyclone came up. Did he rebuild another Cyclone in order to deal with these Vikings? So ByuN is going to be taking back air control. I guess control is a bit of a strong word for what either of these players have had throughout the match so far, but at least able to contest it heavily. And right now, ByuN's Viking count is, well, it's 2 to 3 in favor of Maru, but getting that 2nd starport, ByuN acknowledging, oh, that tank was a traitor and deserved to be shot in the face, but the rest of them, on the other hand, are going to be ready. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. This game is already so close, on the edge of a knife here, but it could cut either way. ByuN with more barracks, as is Maru. +1. Wow, we're 9 minutes in. And TVT is pretty notorious for taking a while to add on your production, and with it, your add-ons, but this is some of the longest I've seen any player go without really transitioning, especially since they're both on 3 base. Maru's going for a 4th command center. They just now finish up Stim. Getting +1/+1 is ByuN. Maru just with the +1 weapons to kick things off. Those upgrades insanely important in this matchup. Maru picks up a couple tanks. Oh, but is the Viking count there? ByuN is hit him, stab them through their windows. ByuN essentially melee attacks Vikings. It appears he was confident he had the Viking lead, and that does bear out. Realizes Maru is unsieging. No combat shield for ByuN means it's very risky to stim in. Can easily die in one hit to those siege tanks, especially since no medevacs out, is neither player willing to give up control of the skies. They need to at least be able to contest, which means being within 1 or 2 Vikings. Well, Vikings microing back. In the last patch, which pre-IEM Katowice, Vikings got a reduction to their damage point, which means they're more microable. They don't have more DPS, but you can move them away after their attack goes off. So essentially their attack, much like Marines, goes off very quickly, so you can micro them a lot. It makes it easier to stutter step, is the simple version. Well, ByuN taking that 4th command center, though I don't know for how long, as Maru, I think, caught wind of it, though, diving in towards the natural. Both sides siege up. Vikings jousting in the sky. Tanks blasting on the ground so far. And Maru threatening a move forward, but the tanks gets the head of the attack bitten off, but at the same time, ByuN forced to cancel. He's down 35 supply. A lot of that is almost all of it is in army supplies. ByuN is down less than 10 workers here. Just relying on his defensive position and some really pinpoint siege tank control in order to hold on. But Maru is so good at that double siege style. Viking, siege tanks, and adding on the Liberators, which did get a slight cost reduction with the new patch. They're 125 gas, down from 150, so essentially every 5 Liberators you can afford another Liberator for free in gas. ByuN sends out a single drop. He feels like, I gotta get something on the other side of the map. I have not been able to drag Maru back at all. I need whatever I can get. If this medevac goes down, Maru is left, or ByuN is left with very little in the way of options. He just doesn't have the army supply right now. But Maru, sensor towers also got slightly nerfed, slightly less radius, a little harder. Maru does not have vision of that corner of the base, though. A single medevac drop can do critical damage if the reinforcements aren't there to intercept. Maru comes back quickly, but ByuN guns down the Marine, slurps up into the medevac, and picks up out of range. And Maru actually brought some of his army back, I think just kind of distracted by this drop. And that's exactly what ByuN needed. Get some breathing room right now. Going towards the center of the map, both sides kind of passing in the night. He saw ByuN saw Maru on the sensor tower. The Liberator's going to force ByuN back. Siege tanks, unsiege. Get out of Liberation range. Maru trying to shark around here. The choke point is asphyxiating for both sides, as neither player really wants to send Marines through there. Maru has the advantage, though, overall. Oh, the Marines come in. Only one siege tank siege during this battle, but he's forced into the Valley of Death, and the siege tanks rain down high-velocity danger. Vikings battling Liberators in the skies, and Liberators not so well used to that. Gonna try to siege up again. You see Maru flirting with the idea. ByuN picks up, and he flies. Did Maru not see it? Maru, I don't think... Actually, he was a split second away from spotting those medevacs. +2 is done. Weapons. Both sides. The upgrades are dead even right now. But Maru does have mech weapons +1. That is actually a huge deal in these tank fights, so he hasn't started +2. ByuN, on the other hand, starts +3 infantry weapons quicker than Maru, so might find an advantage there as he continues to evade the killing blow that Maru is trying to lay down on him. Marines fighting. ByuN actually coming in with reinforcements. Both sides piling on. Vikings take down the medevac siege tanks. Do what they do best. Siege up. And reinforce the Marines. ByuN has evaded, essentially evaded capture, evaded that deadly siege by just outmaneuvering, working the map in the sheer size of it. As we've seen him do against Zerg, against Protoss, and now here against Terran. But Maru continues to have the momentum. He has more bases. He has better upgrades overall, a better unit composition for the late game with that focus on air control. 14 to 8 siege tanks. That is a significant deficit for ByuN. But positioning is everything. As just a handful. 2. How many siege tanks can you fit in your hand? Big Gabe, like 10. Everyone else, let's say 3 or 4. More than enough to kill Marines. And that's probably being generous, but 2 or 3 siege tanks in the right spot can make all the difference. But here comes ByuN from pretty much every side he can muster right now. Breaks down a few Liberators. It cost him a lot of Marines, but Maru actually taking some kind of mediocre fights here. The supplies start to even up. I think part of this is Maru shifting his unit. ByuN picks up. Sorry, interrupting your regularly scheduled programming for the most predictable part of the game. He picks up, he boosts past the sensor tower. Even if Maru sees this coming, a few Marines blasted to ash. A single turret does nothing but slightly annoy the medevacs. Is a triple drop in the main. 30 supply of medevac Marine on top of the production. Just going right into the orbital command. Siege tank pops out, decides it wants to leave the premises, but ByuN will stop it right there. Targeting down factories. Maru scrambling all the way back. Retreating with everything he has, and this opens up the map for ByuN, who is about to finish +3 infantry weapons and might have an opportunity to engage. Out on the map, a couple... Oh, God, this Liberator has been so helpful here. Oh, whatever damage ByuN did, a bit equaled by the fact that Maru managed to take out 4 tanks. I think that's 7 tanks in the last minute and 20 seconds. A little hard to tell because the difference, they show up a little differently on the cool battle report we have, but... Alright, scans on both sides. Almost a constant fixture, as knowledge is power. And power is the ability to murder Marines with siege tanks, give or take. Liberators also, but mostly siege tanks. As so far, honestly, only 120 Marines. It seems kind of low, 16 minutes in here. Maru looking for an opportunity. He actually splits and stims, going for the tanks, but might have underestimated the depth of that tank line, as a couple further tanks at the back slam the point home. ByuN picks up 4 medevacs of Marines. Maru's starting to realize, wait a second, that seems a little thin on the defenses. The Marines able to overrun the front lines there. A couple more tanks siege up on the back, slow things down. Liberator gonna continue to push the issue. ByuN, with 4 medevacs, is thinking about maybe dropping on the tanks here. May find an opportunity. No, he just goes straight for the main. Loses 1 medevac with all hands. But 2 or 3, oh no, this one was a bit predictable. ByuN got slightly distracted on a bit of a detour. And Maru had plenty of time to intercept, and this time ByuN pretty much outright losing everything. Barely able to get anything in trade. And a lot of map control with it. The rock's a slight distraction here. Maru splits and stims. Liberator as well. Vikings getting targeted down, but the siege tank will be the next casualty as Maru continues forward. Really trying to leverage his advantage in map control and just overall unit composition. But ByuN holding his ground. A very bloody, well-saturated ground right now, but ground nonetheless. ByuN continues. A handful of Marines. Whoever can stim does. Everyone else is going to eat a couple extra siege tank shots. Literally, his Marines are so close to death that not all of them can stim, because they won't stim to death. They'll just get very close to it. +2 vehicle weapons done. A big damage upgrade for the sheer amount of siege tanks on the field. Maru splits and stims. More target fire. Brings down the Vikings. ByuN still has a handful of Marines in that bottom left corner. A siege tank not quite in range to dislodge them, as ByuN has them on hold position now. Looking for an opportunity. He splits and he stims again, and Maru doesn't have that many Marines in the front. A Raven, no anti-armor missile or anything right now. Looking for an opportunity. Throws an interference matrix, but ByuN manages to snap up what? How many tanks? Well, the battle... Oh my god, the battle's been going on for 4 minutes straight. So the battle report resets with about 15 seconds of no kills. Over almost 300 Marines. Over 25,000 resources have died throughout this engagement that continues. Actually, next battle and... Oh, cool. There's a little timer there. We're learning new things every day. Like, this game seems very stressful. Oh my. Liberator. Unloading. Gets a couple free tanks. Well, free is a bit strong, but easily able to pick them off. Marines chase down. ByuN has managed to pin Maru back towards his side of the map for now. Liberator looking for an opportunity, finds the center base. ByuN has floated his main. I believe this is, or was once known as, his main command center. One tank goes down almost immediately. A lot of Marines in the midfield right now. As ByuN struggling. He just doesn't have the army to consistently win fights. He has to rely on Maru being out of position. And that's the situation you're left in. When you're the one with less tanks and you're relying so much on Marines. Oh, a few tanks, a few Marines going the wrong way as Maru sets his sights on the center of the map. ByuN down 30 army supply. There's still that Raven on the back line. An anti-armor missile could be the explosive straw. Oh, medevac bombs. Marines on those tanks trying to draw the not-so-friendly fire. ByuN floating command centers from pretty much everywhere. Did not have the space nor the minerals to build up a bank of command centers like he likes to do. Oh, trying to find a fight here. Draws the Marines into heavy siege tank fire. Maru pulls back. There's only +1 vehicle weapons, and ByuN never started +3 infantry armor. Those upgrade deficits they're already adding up, surely. As, well, ByuN has lost near 300 Marines, 26 tanks, 20 to 241 for Maru. Just about 1,000 more minerals and gas, so still relatively even on the losses, but Maru can definitely afford more. He picks up and looks to drop on the tanks. Unprotected by Marines, exposed, and the Marines, well, they'll suffer minimal losses. Here comes ByuN with a vengeance. But the tanks have already been lost. And that brings them down to 7 versus 13. ByuN not to be outdone. Looking for an opportunity, but 3 free siege tanks with a few Ravens should be enough to drive them back. 25 SCVs died, though. Looks like ByuN cleared up that base to the 6 o'clock position. And Maru is suddenly down to 52 SCVs. But he has... Oh, ByuN intercepted some tanks in the middle of the map under sensor tower range. Maru a little lackadaisical there, not realizing those tanks were exposed. It's easy to lose track of things. Even at, what are we looking at? 508 p.m. And then 4:30 from Maru's playing a bit of a more positional game. But I think Maru should be able to keep up. No, ByuN has taken a significant income lead. If he can continue to move his army around like this and just outmaneuver Maru, all he has to do, he doesn't even have to take great fights. They just need to be good enough. We'll see. Multiple Ravens. Maru holding on to those. ByuN has none. Armor shred. Anti-armor missile softens up a lot of the Marines and may discourage any sort of engagement for ByuN for a while. Oh. ByuN is forced back. Marines getting obliterated whenever they stray into tank range. And almost everywhere is tank range, so... Whoa, he's just kind of eating some hits here. The medevacs have not had any opportunity to heal as they keep chasing the Marines around. Maru finds an opportunity to drop on a couple of ByuN's valuable tanks here. And gonna, well, 1, 2 for pretty much free. A scan. I don't know what he spotted there. He's looking for Maru. He went in the sensor tower range. Of course, by the way, ByuN picks up. Is he actually gonna go for the main? Is that... He's got 6 medevacs right now. He commits fully. ByuN picks up and heads to the main, and the production is under fire. The tanks on the low ground a little close. The Marines got them down. Eats 1 shot. ByuN losing supply back at home as Maru is going straight for the base trade. SCVs repairing one of the valuable orbital commands. The main base, the production, the barracks are on fire, and not in a good way right now. 13 SCVs go down for ByuN, but he pulls Liberators out of his infinite hat, and with them, drives the tanks back. Maru, what a save with those siege tanks. Gets a couple more out that almost nobody... Why are there SCVs here? ByuN at 158, but Maru's only at 130 supply, though the losses of all these SCVs, which couldn't really find a safe place, will definitely cut into that. ByuN down to 35 SCVs, though the amount of mineral patches left to mine from. The third base is in the air. The main base has already floated somewhere else, and the game itself is in limbo right now, as ByuN continues to run Maru around the map. But Maru continues to have what is overall a better unit composition. Once again, always assuming that the Marines don't find the fight they've been looking for. And I gotta keep pointing out that lack of +3 infantry armor. It's been 10 minutes or so now. I don't know if ByuN has noticed. He might have tried to start it and didn't quite have enough money and hasn't checked since then. This game has been hectic right now, which would be the explanation for waiting this long. Now ByuN doesn't really have the resources with which to invest in well, almost anything, as he has to build supply depots again. Oh my, it's just a big ball of Marines. Though, I've argued before that everything is a Marine to ByuN. Makes it easier that way. The tank count is intimidating for Maru. A Liberator on the other side. Both players throwing Liberator anything to draw attention away and maybe get a tiny edge, get a step forward in one of these fights. That step might make all the difference. Liberator goes down. Worker count's dwindling. Command centers. How many command centers left? ByuN has 4 orbitals. Maru has 4 orbitals and 3 planetaries, so a much more stable position overall. But ByuN is sitting at 153 army supply right now. 111 Marines! Well, he's put certainly many... Oh, he stims that... Oh. He's thinking about it, but that choke point we've already shown. several times this game. Oh, the tanks will siege ByuN. Gets one of them. Oh, no! Oh. He tried to split and stim. And I think the armor upgrades more than any other time this game. The tank shots just enough to eat huge chunks out of that ball of Marines. And the supply gap is inverted. Where once ByuN had 10-15 supply lead, now Maru has taken that back. The medevacs almost fly over the Marines. He gets away with a lot of them. Maru just doesn't have that many units on the field, especially with which to really challenge ByuN right now. So ByuN should still be able to at least take out one of these bases. Reinforcements heading across. Siege tanks still dangerous. ByuN is still at +1 on his siege tanks. It's a 2-1 mech upgrade disadvantage and a +1 infantry armor disadvantage. These are really adding up over time. Oh, I think if ByuN had parity and upgrades, this game might already be over in his favor with the kind of fights he's been taking. But Maru has been able to hold on, which is a weird kind of roll. There's so many Marines! Oh. As ByuN scrambles to defend. That was his net? Okay, so there's no main. There's no net. How many command centers does he have left? There's only 2 command centers left. That's not very many command centers. I said the mathematical genius you like and subscribe for. Oh, the tanks. Eating ByuN, really, truly, you can feel the desperation here a bit. As this has gone, ByuN was fighting for his life for much of this game. He gets the advantage, but it kind of slips out from under him, and now there's really not the economy with which to recover. The tank's moving forward. Orbital command might be targeted down. Tanks on the high ground. He can't risk all those Marines in autumn colors right now. The medevac's pretty much out of energy just from healing the stims. Maru down to 143 supply. The incomes have dwindled. Maru is not even mining minerals right now. Wait, what? I mean, it's not like ByuN's particularly rich, but the amount of mineral patches on the match, in the match, either way. ByuN looking for the stims, but the Marines, a single tank hit. Oh my, just a pool of blood splattered into the ground. Oh. The Marine deaths on either side. A single Liberator. A single Liberator. There's no Vikings. There haven't been for what feels like hundreds of years, but this is not a historical documentary. This is StarCraft 2. And right now, it's looking more and more like science fiction if ByuN comes back from this. Maru in a repeat, in what a perfect reprise. The beginning of the game was Maru with a multi-tiered siege push that ByuN barely held on from. And now, as the game draws towards a conclusion, at least when it comes to minerals, it's ByuN trying to outmaneuver that multi-siege push yet again. Except this time they cannot rebuild. There's nothing left to go back to. Production is shattered. Income is non-existent. The supplies can only go down from here, really. And ByuN picks up. And he heads for the main. But there's another tank on the ramp. The Liberator sieging. It looks like check. And potentially mate. Maru may have been able to pin that. Wait, it's not over, as ByuN had a Liberator. And is denying all the mining. There's just no money. There's literally 0 minerals for Maru right now. How many bases does he have left? 2 planetaries, 3 orbitals. But the only place with mineral patches left. The production tab is empty. 1 siege tank starts up for ByuN. Liberator goes down. Trying to collapse on Maru's units. I don't know why. Of all people, I should not be the one to count ByuN out. I gotta come back to those upgrades again. Oh, it hurts so much. There's no way ByuN... I think many minutes ago, if he had noticed, he would have started At least that +3 armor, but also those mech upgrades really helping out. Oh, ByuN. The Marine count isn't there. GG! Maru takes game 1. It was not easy. It was not simple. It was over almost 1,000 Marines. And so much more. Over 100,000 resources. That was about the most perfect exchange between those two I think we could have ever dreamed of. As ByuN demonstrating his no one else does it like him. Anyone else would have died half a dozen times over. Well, maybe anyone else. To Maru there. But ByuN holds on, not only from the first push, but from the following 15 or so. Battles stretching into the minutes. I think it was 4 or 5 minutes, though essentially from minute 3, I think. Well, I think the battle's going to start a little earlier than minute 3 in game 2 here. A little earlier. Mapu, can we get the shot we're all looking for? Thank you. ByuN says, let's start things off early. I don't know, like, these two. I don't think you can be unhappy with that game. That's ByuN. He wears his heart on his sleeve and on his wrists, but I don't think this is giving up, to be clear. I think this is ByuN. I don't know if this was the plan from the start, knowing that Dragon Scales was the second map. But I don't see this as, well, I guess I'll just go for... No, this is not an all-in necessarily. It has to do something. You can't proxy 2 Rax Reaper, get nothing, lose a Reaper maybe. No. Obviously it has to get something, but thankfully for ByuN, Maru is scouting directly across the map. He's going to get the classic information, which is no information at all, which is plenty of information, as the severe lack of it is already going to demonstrate very much so what Maru is looking for here. Yeah. Well, where are your barracks, my friend? Oh, ByuN! Oh, he got him. ByuN gets the SCV scout, which is something.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Obviously, Maru knows at this point he scouted for it, but he doesn't really have time to build a bunker. ByuN knows that Maru knows, but still chasing past here for now. The Reaper, the SCVs, remember in the new patch, the SCVs are a little better at attack. They don't have to slow down to do their attack quite as much, which makes them slightly better. Just slightly better at dealing with these early cheeses and stuff like that. So, overall, that means ByuN gonna have a little bit of a tougher time than he might have just a few short weeks ago at dealing with that. But Maru adds a Hellion. 4 Reapers. Snipes 1. Going for 2. Oh, he missed a shot on the Reaper. He's going to go for the Hellion. Yeah, he hit the Hellion, which is not the worst case scenario, but the Reaper got an extra hit off. And the Hellion will survive, so ByuN missed 1 shot there. And this is the thinnest of margins. It's a good start. So far, it's 2 Reapers to 2 Reapers and 2 SCVs. And obviously, Maru's had to take quite dramatic precautions. This is one of the few times I think you can argue mining time is a real factor. And not just something casters say to fill the time when not too much happened. As when 5 or 6 of your SCVs are not mining for about 30 seconds of the early game. That is a significant portion of your economy. ByuN is going to telegraph his intents here a little bit by sending the barracks into the main, which barracks, not the least efficient scout. They actually move faster than overlords, fun fact, and have more HP, so why not? Don't do it. Oh my. Of course. All right. Well, this will be a mild inconvenience, as we've seen demonstrated. Terran buildings can fly, so of course, not a huge delay, but may actually stop Maru from being able to float over for a few moments, possibly distract him for long enough for the Reapers to get some damage. Comes down the ramp, yeah, the barracks. Okay, Maru. Well, here come the most obvious Reapers of all time, but Maru's still going to lose one of his Hellions. And there's going to be a slight delay. Maru, did he actually deactivate the... Well, it won't automatically lock on the buildings, the Cyclone lock. But yeah, several seconds of delay here. As Maru, gonna have to hang out for a while. What's the worker count? Let's take stock of the situation. This is definitely one of those more technical games where you have to really look at the tech, which is already a bit confusing, as ByuN is going for Cloak Banshee against the most consistent tech choice in TVT, which is Ravens. The Ravens got a bit of a rework. Essentially, the auto turret and anti-armor missile aren't quite as effective, but the Raven is less costly. It's 150-150 as opposed to 150-200. And it builds about 8 seconds faster. I believe it's 32 seconds now, maybe 34, something like that. So it's approximately the same build time as an Oracle, for reference. And it costs the same, so it's kind of fulfilled that role a little more. Even before the patch, Ravens were at a premium in Terran versus Terran. Now they're maybe just like a basic plus plan as opposed to premium nowadays. Less costly, but you don't get quite as much out of them. But that brings me back to the Banshees. Against someone who is very likely at least going for Cyclone or two, and incredibly likely going for Raven and then Viking, the Banshees do feel like a bold choice, as the counter is kind of built in there. On top of the fact, of course, you have things like Scan. But ByuN doesn't necessarily respect your silly counters. He doesn't respect the meta. He doesn't really respect necessarily his opponents. I'm sure he does. I think it's more like he trusts himself more than he worries about his opponents. And that is the best way to go about it, in my opinion. And he really embodies that. ByuN has a third command center as well here, by the way. Important to note. The Ravens are moving out. ByuN spots it. Very important to see the Ravens are here. And, not anywhere else. As those Banshees are grouping up on the left side. Quite a gamble from ByuN. Vikings are patrolling, though. So, ByuN... the Vikings likely to catch... oh my god, he flew right past him. Oh, not even Maru noticed. Wait, did he? Did Maru notice? No, not quite. No, he just has those Vikings looking for it, but... I can't... He just pre-cloaked and went past the Vikings. Wasn't taking any chances there. And is actually going to get a ton of damage. Coming into the natural as well. The Vikings looking to intercept Ravens on their way back, but the Vikings already a little slow on it. 12 SCVs lost by Maru, mostly to the Reaper Cyclone. A lot of them did come from the Banshees, but both Banshees escaped, and Maru's forced to evacuate from his base. 19 SCVs. That is critical damage. He's even going to go for, well, Interference Matrix. ByuN. That was a big... that definitely sours the end of the Banshee attack there a bit. The Interference Matrix and the fact he didn't kill the tank. It's very hard. You're already doing so well. You're getting so much done. One more hit. But sometimes that last hit is the one that ruins you. Which leaves ByuN in less of an amazing position, as Maru still has those Ravens and Vikings. Important to note, like that time he invested in the tech, it's still there. All ByuN did really was delay the economy. So now as ByuN sends 2 medevacs out of Marines, that leaves him with very little at home to defend. A scramble on 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3 tanks. 2 Ravens really kicking in here. Armor upgrades. No combat shield yet for Maru's Marines, the supplies, but at the same time, ByuN stims into the natural, doing a whole lot of damage right now. A dozen more SCVs, but does he have enough to actually break Maru while he himself is losing the natural of his own base? Marines being gunned down, SCVs pulled, medevacs doing what they can. 1-1 upgrades on either side, loses the orbital. ByuN gets out with a handful of Marines, but he has been thrown out of the main of Maru. Maru actually backs off for now. Rotates around for the 3rd base of ByuN. 4 siege tanks. Only 1. ByuN's going to be taken out by a Viking and a Cyclone here. Tries to evacuate, gun down with all hands. He was able to fit inside at least. 32 SCVs down. ByuN actually has a 4th command center building. So if he can survive, well, he might be knocked right back down to 3. Maru has all the right units here. ByuN is kind of stuck back in his main base. He committed everything. The Banshees and the medevacs. The Cyclones and the Reapers. From the very start of the game, he's been up in Maru's grill. But now he's the one getting roasted. Maru has all the units that he needs to push through. ByuN has 1 shot to type GG. He stimmed in, but he knew he just didn't have what it took. A hard-fought game 2 to conclude things, but Maru comes out on top today. I think that match lived up and surpassed all the hype that you could have expected from it. I really enjoyed watching that match live. I hope I did it justice and helped you enjoy it again, or for the first time here. And I hope you look forward to more of the StarCraft 2 World Championships. We'll hopefully have a playlist. It'd be awesome if you could check that out. Jimmy put up a video right there for you as well. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. And for those of you who made it this far, thank you for listening to this bit. But we're trying out some new quality settings. Hopefully it looks better. Sounds arguably better. Those are a little more subjective. But let me know in the comments if you have any of them. Feedback is always appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. See you next time. Stay chill.